If you're playing Shadowdark using Solo Dark rules, then you may want to use my Solo Tools Expanded, which is available now at DriveThruRPG in hardcover, softcover, and PDF. So what's inside the Solo Tools Expanded book? Let's take a look inside. The first thing I want to touch on about Solo Tools Expanded is its size. It was designed to fit perfectly with your other Shadowdark books, as you can see. The first thing I want to touch on about Solo Tools Expanded is the size. I designed this to fit right along with your Shadowdark book. It'll go right on the shelf together without any problems. But right now, you don't really care about the size of the book. You want to know what's inside the book. I posted an earlier video about Solo Tools Expanded in which I did a scroll through the PDF. The hardcover, though, has more than you saw in that earlier video. How much more? Let's go. We have a title page, which is always necessary. We have a 4-page table of contents. I wanted to provide as much detail as I could because I didn't include an index. We will just jump through the book now. The introduction includes a how to use this book section, which is kind of an overview in how to get started with a solo game session. It tells you to select a map. There's a couple included in here. Encourages you to place a dungeon. If you need a reason why you're going to explore that dungeon, it's here. And then it just repeats. In the Solo Dark rules, there is a page detailing some possible tools, resources you can use during play. I have included a second such list. There's no overlap, but this will give you more ideas for your sessions. And then we have the Tools for Adventure section, which includes another adventure generator and a third. This follows the exact same model you find in the Shadowdark core rules. From there, we get 2 tables of adventuring site names, which again follows the format found in the Shadowdark rules, and you're going to see that's a theme. I tried to follow the core rules as much as I could while giving everyone new tools. Then we have the alternate adventure generator, and the way this works is you roll on each of these 5 tables, put all the results together, and it gives you an idea for an adventure. So for example, let's say we rolled a 12, we have disembark in a strange city after a long voyage, and then we'll roll a 7. You're approached by an old woman, we'll roll a 18, who is an introverted bookbinder. And then we'll roll again, and they offer you, let's say we got a 14, half ownership in a local bakery. On the next page, if you roll again, let's say it's a 19, blackmail, and then roll again, and say we get an 8, a powerful wizard living in a dungeon. And then we roll one last time on this table where we find it's a 10, for example. Unfortunately, the adventuring gear you recently purchased is defective. By putting all those together, you give yourself a high overview look at a possible adventure that you could play out. It is not meant to create the adventure for you, but it is meant to inspire your adventures. From there, we get another Something Happens table, which again, you can find in the core. Then we move into urban adventures. This includes more taverns, more menu items, more drinks, a tavern twist, a table for the stranger in the corner is, and we'll roll a d20. So I got a 6, a rat catcher trying to sell cheap meat to the owner. We have tavern encounters, tavern rumors that you'll hear. Then we have another shop generator. We have more interesting customers. And then we get into more random encounter tables. This set is for city encounters, so we have more artisan district, castle district, high district, low district, market district, slums district, temple district, and university district encounters. Then we get into the wilderness adventures, where you get more points of interest tables. You get a weather table that includes a natural weather event options and a strange weather event table. And then here are the descriptions, but again, there's a table there so you can roll just in case you want a random strange weather event. Then we move into more encounters, and again, these line up with what you find in the core book. So this essentially just adds more to the tools you already own with the Shadowdark core book. And then we get into the first of 2 hex crawls that I've included in here. These are very open-ended and are intended for you to take and make it your own. So this has all the locations shown. This is the Haunted Lands. We have some random encounter tables, and then we have descriptions for the different numbered locations on the map. And I'm not going to go into detail on these because I want you to discover everything during play, because that's going to make it more fun. But if you're the sort of player who wants to plan ahead more, feel free to read all of this and change anything you want, add things, just make it yours. I'm not going to do anything else with this hex crawl so that anything you do does not get contradicted by something I might do. And the same with the second hex crawl. This one is the Forest of Towers, and the concept here is there's just a bunch of ruined towers all over this place. And again, the key descriptions are for locations, some of which are towers. Then we have 3 villages. Each one has a map and some locations described. And again, like with the hex crawls, I'm not going to touch these. You do what you want with them, and nothing I do in the future is going to contradict your game. After the villages, we move into the Dungeon Adventures section, which we get more dungeon names, which follow the same format in the core book. We have then several different dungeon tables, like the dungeon was once, and gives you kind of a little bit of a backstory idea. Dungeon room table, if you want a quick random room, what is it? We have dungeon details, that's little things like this room might have standing water, hip deep and tough to walk in. And there we have a dungeon sounds table. Follow that with dungeon illumination table, dungeon smells. Then we get into table of dungeon entrances, followed by several chamber descriptions. And the idea here is you'll select or roll an entrance, and then you'll roll an entrance chamber that describes the first room in the dungeon. From there, the second room you move into, you'll have another table. Then you have yet another one, and you can use these however you wish. Just mix, match, roll, it doesn't matter. And then we have special dungeon chambers, and these are the ones that get a little odder, we'll say. Followed by a secret door table, random dungeon maps. The idea here is roll a d8 to select your entrance, your opening section of the dungeon, and then d66 for what's next. And you just connect these however you wish together. So like there's an empty door here, maybe it connects to this one over here, or it could connect to that one. It's up to you to decide. And if you can't decide, that's why it's also a random encounter, a random dungeon table, so you can just roll on each one. Then we move into still more encounters. These are caves, deep tunnels, dungeons, more dungeon encounters, ruins, and tomb encounters. After that, we get the monsters and NPCs section, which includes the NPC names and faces table. This is a D66 roll, and it just lets you see what one of the NPCs might look like and what their name is. Then we have a mannerism table. So, for example, you might roll Druda Durovic here, and you might roll that she has a gravelly voice. Maybe she's got a cold. Who knows? Then we've got a liability table, like what's wrong with them. Maybe she's a narcissist. After that, we have a monster generator. These again follow the same format found in the core rules. Then we have monsters by level. This includes a listing of monsters from the Shadowdark core rules, the Monster Monday expansions. Then we have Unnatural Selection and the GM's Companion for Shadowdark, all represented here. And this is just to help you with selecting a monster by level, basically. Then we move into the last section, which is the treasures mundane and magical. We have another magic item idea generator, followed by random treasures. And these are just a bunch of miscellaneous random treasures. And that's it. Solo Tools Expanded is, as I said, available now at DriveThruRPG in hardcover, softcover, and PDF. You can find a link in the description, and I hope you'll check it out. Have a great day.